everybody. I'm Ted DiBiase, the $1 Million Man, and everybody's got a price for lazy booking. Hey, this is your Olympic hero, Kurt Angle, and you're listening to Lazy Booking. No, it's true. It's damn true. Ho! Hey, folks, I'm WWE Hall of Famer Hacksaw Jim Duggan, and if you want to know what's going on in wrestling, check out Lazy Bookings. Ho!
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to another edition of Lazy Booking right here on A2DRadio.com. Brought to you by Gibson Mayer LLC, your certified public accountants. They are located at 301 Oxford Valley Road in Yardley, PA. And you can give them a call at 215-369-3300. Hey, remember, the deadline, April 15th. It is fast approaching. So be ready, be prepared, and use Gibson Mayer.
Bang!
Boom.
Nicely done.
Paper slam out of nowhere. Welcome back, guys. Welcome to Lazy Booking live on A2DRadio.com. Thank you for joining us. If you're joining us on Facebook, YouTube, Periscope, Twitter, if you're watching at home on the shitter, I don't care where you're watching. As long as you're watching, we appreciate it.
If they just got done puking after the result of that Phillies game.
Yeah. That's rough. It is opening day of baseball, so if you are joining us with that, we appreciate that as well. Mike Mataraki back with us here. Matty Sensuti, best hair in the business. Ryan Brodo over on the ones and twos. Before we get into it, we want to say, give a special congratulations to a strong member of the fam out there, Mike Parker. Him and his wife had a beautiful baby today.
6:01 p.m.
6:01 p.m. So we want to congratulate
Baby
you.
is less than 2 hours old.
From the fam.
To the fam.
Congratulations, Mike. Guys, we're here. Scanzano Sports Poll Question of the night on the road to WrestleMania. Which match will steal the show during WrestleMania? Now, we're going overall the weekend, not just WWE. So we got AJ Styles and Shinsuke Nakamura, Charlotte and Asuka, Kenny Omega and Cody, or Gargano and Ciampa, which I'm getting more and more pumped for that match, by the way. Really excited about that. Again, join us in the chats, guys. We're looking forward to interacting with you. So let's just get into it, guys. Let's get Maddie here. Maddie, where are you at this weekend? What's your and it could be something else, too. Maybe you're looking forward to Undertaker and John Cena. Who knows? What match are you looking most forward to this weekend?
Well, shockingly enough, it would not be Undertaker and John Cena. If it was Taker younger, it probably would have been a little bit more
Is
exciting.
it the Battle Royal with Sasha Banks?
No, because they have done a tremendously horrible job of booking those two. Let's see here. I would say it has to be – I'm so excited for Charlotte and Asuka. Asuka's like my favorite wrestler right now in the women's division. And you have the best two female wrestlers currently on the roster about to clash at WrestleMania. That's exciting because it's not a multi-woman match, so it's just the tale of the two best currently in the company. We're going to find out who the better one is. Even if we kind of semi-know the result, it was still going to be an awesome match. I'm looking forward to that.
What do you got, Mikey?
Well, it's tough because I was actually going to go with Gargano and Ciampa until I heard Cody Rhodes' interview this morning on Busted Open Radio.
Yeah, so fill us in on that. The only line I think I saw was that he called Kenny Omega like the band that everyone pretends to love.
I was
going to
say, I'll tell you exactly what he said. What was interesting was when most guys go on that show, they don't really stay in character. I mean, they will allude to the character in the storyline a little bit, but most guys that go on that show usually play it straight up.
Okay.
I would say Cody was probably about 75% in character.
Nice.
So
little kayfabe now and then, never hurt anybody.
Doing the American Dream proud. And this is literally 24 hours after he put out the that note online.
Yeah.
To the Young Bucks, and he actually used their real last name and said that he apologized, that he thought that he was being attacked by Kenny Omega and didn't realize that it was I guess it was Matt Jackson that he had thrown out of the ring on Sunday night in Long Beach. So Cody's kayfabing it hard this week.
Loving it.
And what he said about Kenny Omega was he is going to be the one to bring the next great match out of Kenny Omega. And he's shooting for a match that was better than Jericho Omega. And he went so far as to say that Kenny Omega is the underground band that everyone claims to love.
Yes.
But no one can name a single song title of anything they sing. And I was just kind of like, wow, that's a genius line.
Yeah.
That is an absolute genius line. And then I had to join a conference call, and that was the end of me listening to that.
That's okay. That's great, though. I mean, listen, that's going to be a very exciting match. You know, as far as whether you want to call it an independent or an alternative, it's the dream match that people want to see. It's been built very, very well up until this point. I'm with you. I'm not with you. I'm going to pick something different. But I like that match, too. I feel like Charlotte and Asuka has a lot of really good potential here. I mean, I think we may see the best women's match we've seen in the last 15 years.
If not longer.
If not longer, yeah. I mean, there's no doubt that these are the two most talented women, I believe, in professional wrestling at this point. There's a lot of great talent, whether it's in WWE or not. But these women are going to show that women main eventing Raws and Smackdowns and pay-per-views is definitely going to be something that's on the horizon, particularly with something I think Ryan Brodo brought up last week or the week before, the rumor that they may be aiming for next year to be a year where they can build the women this year and then have the main event of Mania be a women's match?
Yeah, there's definitely rumblings that they want to continue with this, couple years of firsts in the women's division, and they really are pushing for a women's main event of WrestleMania. Obviously, the rumor is, the participants, it looks like it would be Charlotte, Asuka, and Rousey, which I said last week. If they're going to do it, I mean, that's a way to do it, absolutely, with featuring those three.
Yeah, no, I mean, that's definitely going to sell, too. But where are you at, Brodo? Which one are you looking forward to?
For me, and I was just looking at the card because I was trying to find, sort of like a dark horse pick. And I was going to think, I'm intrigued by the Daniel Bryan, Shane McMahon, tag team versus Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn. I'm intrigued by that just because of the return, of Daniel Bryan and obviously how many things, how destructive is Shane McMahon going to be because, he always is, this time of year. But for me, it continues to go back to one match. We've been waiting for it forever. I'm not going to stray from it. It's AJ and Nakamura. It really is. And it seems like, on the SmackDowns, they've been very cautious to where it's the exact opposite of how they've been building Brock and Roman to where they're beating the living hell out of each other every given week. Nakamura and AJ, they're really not, they're taunting each other, but they're not getting physical, which shows me they are saving something very special. And also, AJ's been dealing with, an injury, so they're protecting him there. But I think, regardless, we've been waiting for this match for years. We're finally going to get it on the biggest stage. I don't think it's going to disappoint, so that's it for me.
But that's the thing, too, about that kind of a matchup between Nakamura and AJ. You actually don't really need them to get into a brawl to sell it. Unlike Roman and Brock, you have to try and get something going there for someone to be a bad guy, especially considering the fact you want Roman to be loved. And they are still trying so hard for Roman to be loved, and he continuously still gets booed. It's kind of sad when you see that, when it's not working, mostly because the fans want to be trolls.
See, I think the opposite. I actually think it is working for Roman. I think that he's starting to get more cheers, and Brock's getting more heat. I would have thought that Roman would have been completely booed out of the building everywhere he went as far as trying to build this program, and it doesn't seem to be happening that way. He still has his hardcore skepticism from skeptics that are not buying into it, that's force-fed, yada yada. But I think they've done pretty well considering the circumstance of kind of positioning Roman for this.
No, I would agree with that. Going back to the Nakamura Styles match for a second, though, the thing that I keep hearing is that if for the WWE audience, this is going to be a complete, absolute blow-away title match.
Yeah.
But for anyone who has already witnessed Styles and Nakamura in New Japan, it may wind up being a bit of a letdown because it's going to be worked in the WWE style. So I would just encourage everyone that if you are a a hardcore wrestling fan and you've watched, their match from Wrestle Kingdom in New Japan, judge this match on its own merits. Don't compare it to previous matches that they've had. And I would actually say the same thing about Brock and Roman. Don't compare this to their match at WrestleMania
31.
WrestleMania 31. Just let this match stand on its, on its own merits, and let's see how it goes. Because for everyone who hates Roman Reigns, take a step back and realize that this is one of the top 3 workers in WWE. The guy never, ever has a bad match. You may not like him as a character, but the guy never has a bad match.
It's true. We talked about that a couple weeks ago. Go back and tell me when the last pay-per-view match that Roman Reigns had wasn't good.
And there's nothing wrong with the quality of work. That's never been an issue. I think the problem is WWE is like Disney. They WWE himmed, and because they did that, it kind of made everybody just turn against him. It was the same issue that runs in with, John Cena. John Cena's really had really great quality matches, but you wouldn't know it because no one wants to cheer for him because, again, it was WWE doing their WWE stuff and doing their business. People don't like that. That's what really killed Roman, I think, in the long run. Not necessarily him, and also the character was kind of bland and people didn't like that. They wanted to see a little bit more. They didn't get that. Now they're trying to do something with it, but again, I think it was WWE doing what WWE does, and they took a little bit of pin right out of it immediately.
See, my thing is, I've talked about this before. When the Shield was together, everybody loved Roman Reigns. Everybody wanted Roman Reigns to be in the main event picture. And the WWE, when they broke up the Shield, gave everybody exactly what they asked for. And then everyone said, no,
guys, we actually, Ryan, why don't you go ahead with this? We have some breaking news actually out of the NBA and the Sixers. Do you want to go ahead with that?
Yeah. It's does not look good for any Joel Embiid fans. Obviously, the rumor and obviously the update now is that Joel has been diagnosed with a concussion and a left eye orbital fracture, which he will have to undergo surgery for. His timetable for return is unknown at this point.
And that's actually being reported by Zach Lowe and Adrian Wojnarowski. So 2 real credible sources on that one as well. So looks like the Markelle Fultz headbutt last night was something along the lines of what you'd get from the Wild Samoans back in the 80s. Break your partner's orbital bone, but, keep going with the match.
Jesus.
That's brutal.
Yeah, no,
that is brutal.
That's going to be a killer for the playoffs. I don't think he comes back.
No, and honestly, I think they could still win a round without him.
Yeah.
But, yeah, it doesn't look good for the Eastern Conference Finals. Somebody just make sure that Arnone doesn't have any rope in the house.
Jesus. Greg Malakovic, if you're paying attention, search the house, confiscate everything.
Greg's the one.
Anything sharp, anything that's got a cord, get rid of it all.
Yeah. All right, back to the
wrestling.
squared circle.
Yes, let's get back. Let's get back to it. But no, so that's the thing with Roman is everybody gets. That's the society we're in now. We build people up just to tear them down. I mean, it sucks. And I kind of fed into it for a little bit. I think for me, when I was at a point where I disliked Roman, I don't think they did him any favors. The corny, like, what was it, Irish potatoes comments and shit like that.
Suffering fuckatash.
Like, that did him no favors. It was corny, and it's like you're trying to take the dude seriously. You can't, like, even when Cena has corny lines every now and then, like, that's a whole other level.
You mean like his entire promo Monday night?
Yeah, well.
That was brutal.
Yeah, I mean, it is.
But it is what it is.
He's trying to carry the program without The Undertaker showing up.
Right.
And we're going to talk about that because I want to hear if you guys think he's going to show up next week. If I'm going with matches here, but I agree with you, by the way, judge them totally separate. And obviously, too, you're going to look at the ending of that 31, regardless of neither of them winning.
Right.
Like, nothing's going to compare. Nothing, and there's been nothing like it in WrestleMania history.
Right.
And in fairness, you go back and watch that match. It was a pretty damn good match, but
was a
everyone
good
thought
match.
it was going to be a shitty match. And it's been a different build-up.
Well,
They've taken a different approach to it.
Didn't you also refer to that as the birth of Suplex City?
That was
which
the
it
birth of
was.
Suplex City, absolutely.
I mean, it unfortunately got overshadowed by the ending by the finish when Seth Rollins came out. But other than that though, if Roman had actually won that match and gone over clean, I don't think we would be talking about Roman getting booed, to be completely honest with you, because I mean, he was actually doing really well in that match. It wasn't exactly that he was getting completely shit on in that contest.
I actually think it would be worse if he had gone over clean.
Listen, dude, I was in that crowd. He was getting shit on. Believe me, he was getting shit on.
I mean, I'll be completely honest with you. I remember watching it on mute because I was kind of like somewhat not interested in the main event.
So in other words, nobody in the crowd was saying a word during that match.
Yeah.
No, but I mean, if I'm looking at
way to take half the experience out of it for you, Matty.
Yeah.
No, I'm just gonna put this on mute.
I mean, if I'm looking at it for me, see, the purist in me, because I've wanted to see this match since the day both men were officially in the company, was AJ and Nakamura. But if I'm going to go by what's getting me excited and what I'm looking at can steal the show for the weekend, Ciampa and Gargano. I mean, the heat that's been built with this. And, I mean, Ciampa is so fucking hateable.
He is.
Like, he's such a great heel. And just the whole Gargano being fired and then showing up at NXT, getting into the arena. And then even this week, did you guys watch this week at all? So they finally announced the North American title.
Right.
Ciampa's outside, and I love how, like, the fans are giving him shit, and then he says, what are you going to do about this?
Right.
He shows up, yada, yada, and it's just been the build-up. Because he's kind of like that, all right, I'm a badass dude, I'm going to get him from behind, kick the shit out of him, but he's a chicken shit when it's like that's what heels do. I like that it's going to be an unsanctioned match. I do find it a little bit perplexing that there's a stipulation on a non-sanctioned match that he can come back and get hired.
Well, and what's interesting about this whole thing is we were talking earlier about Cody Rhodes kind of kayfabing the hell out of people this week.
Mm-hmm.
Let me read you a couple of tweets from Tommaso Ciampa from the last 24 hours.
Yeah, we're going to read those tweets, then we're going to get to the fam. I didn't want the fam to think we forgot about
So
it.
the first one is, Chicago broke your heart. Philly crushed your spirit. Atlanta ended your career. New Orleans, good effing luck.
Nice.
Second one is, destiny is a term used by weak people unwilling to take responsibility for their actions. This is not God's will. This is Ciampa's will.
Nice.
And then the last one I'm going to read is 2017. One of my career highlights was being announced for WrestleMania Access. 2018. I'm sorry, a lot has changed in 1 year. 2018. My name will not be seen on any Access list because I refuse to appear.
Nice.
He is kayfabing the hell out of this thing.
I love it.
I just like that build-up, too, that they had for it. It wasn't necessarily a slow burn. It was kind of one of those instant turns, which I thought that's actually a more appropriate way to go about it. Like, if you're going to turn on somebody, make it an instant burn, because it does leave that kind of, oh, crap, I didn't see it coming. Not like other ones where they build it up and they never go through with it.
Yeah, I mean, I think that this has a strong opportunity to steal the show, and then I'm curious to see what happens after. Like, in fairness, I don't know if I know who's going to win, because you would think Gargano may win and get hired back and they continue the feud, but I feel like Gargano's ready to come up at some point soon.
Well, I mean, realistically, they'd both be ready, but you kind of have to split them up for a little while.
Right. So, I mean, I'm feeling... And it's like Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn.
Right.
It's the same thing. A couple months in between. I kind of think Ciampa wins this match, and then we end up getting Gargano brought up to the main roster.
But do you think he goes to SmackDown or Raw?
I don't know. It doesn't matter to me. They'll find a
neither.
spot.
He goes to 205.
Oh.
Well, maybe I don't know.
I do. I actually think he goes.
So in turn, that would put him on Raw then.
I think what happens is he goes out on his back Saturday night. We get a new cruiserweight champion at WrestleMania on Sunday, and on Monday, he shows up at Raw as the newest signing to 205 Live, and then does his first in-ring shtick Tuesday night after SmackDown.
Could be one of the surprises. It'd be very interesting. That'll definitely be something I want to talk about, too, who you think is going to show up on Raw the night after WrestleMania, particularly because we have you here this week. We're not going to have you next week. You'll be at the Phillies home opener.
But I will be back for WrestleMania Reaction the following.
You will,
week.
absolutely.
So
yeah.
we'll have NXT, Mania, Raw, and SmackDown, as well as all the other stuff that's going on in New Orleans, I'll be back to talk to you all about it.
I'll be back. There's too much to not talk about. Let's get to the fam. Chris Lyons, wrestling, boom.
Yes,
Jim
sir.
Jim Velasco, Rusev Mania.
I love
Yeah,
it.
Rusev.
Mike Parker, thanks for the love, boys. Have a great show. No, thank you, buddy, for chiming in, even though you got a baby to take care of now.
Yeah, no kidding.
You guys take care of that baby. Jay Voci, do you think AJ Nakamura put on an NJPW performance, or will WWE water it down? See,
I'm not going to say watered down,
Yep.
but it will be WWE style.
see, I don't know. I could feel that. And I agree. It's not that it's watered down. They're gonna they're gonna tell a different story, but
It's going to be a compromise. They're going to do some things that are WWE like, and they're going to have some moments of strong style. But it's not going to be completely one way or completely the other. I think they're going to try and work in the
I'm
middle.
going to wholeheartedly disagree with you on this because there's precedent for this already.
yeah,
There was Finn Balor and AJ Styles had a match on a pay-per-view in, November? And now, granted, neither of them had time to prepare because AJ was a late substitution. And they went out and they tore the house down, but they tore the house down in WWE style. And it's in a perfect world, I would absolutely agree with you. I just think Vince McMahon's ego is too big to endorse them working any sort of hint of New Japan style.
And it is WrestleMania.
Well, one thing I think that to what you've said is I do know that they had Nakamura kind of chill on the strong style a little
Right.
bit, which is pretty evident when you watch him work. See, I just feel like the day they signed these guys, I always felt like this match was something they knew was going to happen.
Right.
And I could see, especially with all the New Japan nonsense that's going on, and as far as Omega and Cody and Jericho going over there and working, I think Vince has a chip on his shoulder to outdo what happened at Wrestle Kingdom. And I believe at this point, particularly with AJ, Vince has enough confidence that he may take the handcuffs off. Now, I don't know. It's a wait and see. If they do a WWE style of it, I'm fine with that.
Yeah,
because
absolutely.
We've seen it. Like
I don't hate it. I
Yeah.
have no problem with it at all.
you referenced the absolutely perfect match to indicate that, to where they could still blow the roof off of the Superdome, and it is the Superdome, not the
Superdome,
Silverdome.
brother.
They could totally blow the roof off the Superdome, brother, but still tell a different story. I mean, I don't want them to tell the same story as what they had in the last match, because then we say, well, we've seen it before.
Well, yeah. The only concern, though, is, and I know that that's kind of like grasping at straws, though. But you take away a little bit of the strong style from Shinsuke, you're kind of leaving. I don't know. That just kind of feels like you are watering it down just a little
But
bit.
you
'cause
notice
you're taking that away.
They haven't been referring to him as the king of strong style either.
That is true. They have not been. They have just been informing him as the artist.
The artist.
Which I hate.
Yeah.
That. I hate that. That
And
drives me nuts.
the artist, they've been referring to him by last name only, and anytime, it's like I think they hate the fact that his Twitter handle is Shinsuke N as opposed to S Nakamura or anything with an underscore WWE on it. To me, I would love for them to take the handcuffs off of them, but I think they know they could still get an amazing match out of them without having to do that.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting, and if anything, the fact that we don't know 100%, but we know that there's two different ways they could give us an absolutely amazing match, that excites me. I think that there's two ways, but I don't know that they're going to steal the show. I still feel like Ciampa and Gargano are going to steal the show for the whole entire weekend. Hell, I didn't put it on there. I'm excited for the ladder match. I think that shit's going to blow the roof off of
You think?
Oh, God, the Smoothie King Center, whatever the fuck it is. I'm going to have to suck down a bunch of smoothies and prepare myself for that. Jim Velasco, the heat Cody got during the Strong Style Evolved was amazing. It's a testament to how good of a heel he's become. I'm a big fan of Cody and still found myself booing with everyone. I think he went to that show.
Well, it was interesting because you actually had the two tag team matches where you had Cody and Marty Scurll against Tama Tonga and Tonga Loa. So you had Bullet Club against Bullet Club.
Mm-hmm.
And then you had the Golden Lovers with Kenny Omega against the Young Bucks. So it was 3 out of 4 in that were Bullet Club.
Mm-hmm.
And it was just really interesting how New Japan pulled it off. And again, I don't want to spoil it because I know you haven't watched the whole thing yet.
Yeah,
but
I got
Cody's,
my DVR.
I would agree with that wholeheartedly. Cody's heel work was amazing. And it's funny because if you just take a step back for a second and think about his bloodline, his father may very well be one of the top 3 wrestlers of all time in terms of working the crowd or working the audience or working the television audience with the microphone.
Yeah.
Dusty could have people eating out of the palm of his hand in less than 2 minutes. And Cody is starting to approach those levels on the microphone. If he had a lisp, it would be phenomenal, baby.
Well, he kind of sort of does, but it's not as bad as Dusty.
If you will.
No, I mean, I agree. I've always been a big Cody fan. It was just kind of getting that opportunity, and I think there were flashes of where it looked like it was going in that direction, but then, other egos and other things kind of fell into place, and unfortunately he wasn't the sexiest name. But he's going the AJ Styles route.
Yeah.
Sometimes you got to go elsewhere and show how big of a name you are to get appreciated.
Well, and I think the other part of that is, his whole mantra, I guess, is everywhere I've been, they've wanted to do nothing but saddle me with bad gimmicks.
Mm-hmm.
Just let me be myself and watch me steal the show.
Mm-hmm.
And it's happening. It's absolutely happening.
Yeah.
I just, that's such a foreign concept nowadays. Let them be themselves, and let's see what
I
happens.
mean, his match with Okada in Long Beach last year was amazing, too. So,
Lot to be said.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I agree.
It's funny because you look at the situation in NJPW. He's a possible, I don't know what's his weight, because if his weight is under, he can't be a heavyweight champion. But still, because they actually follow those guidelines. But he's probably one of the few Gaijin you could ever consider to win an IWGP heavyweight title, and it would be a legitimate champion. Because in the past they've had them, but it's only been because they're just somebody for the other guy to beat. Nowadays, he could legitimately carry it like an Okada or like a Tanahashi. Same thing with an Omega. Omega could carry that belt very legitimately. So it's like, it's a whole new world for Japan.
Billy Thrasher chiming in.
Hey, Billy. My man's been spending some time in Vegas. I love it.
I know, dropping dollar bills. He says AJ and Nakamura should be the main event. I don't disagree.
I don't
with
disagree
that.
with that either.
Yeah.
It won't be, but it should be.
I think we are all in agreement on that one.
Yeah.
It should be Nakamura and AJ as the main event of WrestleMania.
My cousin says the Phillies blew a 5-0 lead and Gabe's to blame.
Mm-hmm.
We know, Ryan. It's okay.
Oh, we had a whole conversation about that before we went on the air.
We got Rob Provia. He says Charlotte and Asuka. And Brandon Lilly, I don't know who he is, but he says Dad 3 times.
Dad, 3 times?
I hope this isn't like my worst nightmare when I said when I'm like 35 and some kid starts claiming he's my kid.
Dad?
Not me. I'm over here.
Yo, this is kind of off the cuff, but do you want to hear a really sick story now
Sure,
that
go right
since
ahead.
this goes in here? When I was younger, and this is actually probably me putting TMI out there too much, but I may or may not have had a scare. And at that point, I'm just throwing it out there. Wait,
There may be
Wait.
children watching, but
wait, it's okay. That's why I put it so eloquently.
We could suspend the gory details.
When I was going through that, I went to sleep, and like when I have dreams, I have weird dreams. Like I had a dream I owned a 3D theme park with Hulk Hogan, like weird shit like that.
Was it Hulk themed?
No.
Oh, okay.
No.
Just out of pure
No,
curiosity.
but we owned a theme park together. But I had this dream that
Listen,
I got
brother.
Wait, but I got a knock on the door, and I opened the door, and this is me. I was 20. This was 2008, 2000. I was 24, 23, 24. It was me opening the door, and it was I had to be older. It was supposed to be me in my 40, but it was me opening the door, and it was like a 13-year-old kid. but with my adult face, like the beard and everything, being like, "Hey, Dad," and I'm like, I woke up.
You're starting to you're starting to venture into Roman Reigns promo territory.
Oh,
here.
wait! I woke up in a cold sweat.
Pick up the pace.
I woke up in a cold sweat. I've never been so scared in my life.
That's
anyway,
hilarious. That is absolutely hilarious.
I just got a flashback of that.
that's
So,
great.
Brandon, I'm not your dad, man. I don't know.
That's funny.
It
just reminded me that I also have a story to tell you off the air too.
I
I completely forgot about it.
I don't share. For me, it's fam talk. We talk with fam.
Well, we would actually be talking about your family, so.
Okay, yeah, let's save that then. Go ahead. Let's hit YouTube.
So YouTube starts off with David Rosca, and he says, "I'm ready for the WrestleMania 34 to see the first ever women's WrestleMania Battle Royal."
Okay.
And then it is going to be interesting. I'm wondering who's going to win. Just to throw that out there, no biasness. No, Sasha's not going to win it. Neither is Bailey. They're going to eliminate each other.
I know who the first one that's going to be eliminated is going to be, though.
Yeah.
Mandy Rose.
Mandy Rose.
Keep the streak alive.
And of course, he goes on to say, hashtag Mandy freaking Rose, hashtag Mandy Mighty Rose. Almost got her arm broken by Ronda. Mandy should be a Raw Women's Champion next to her twin sister, Trish Stratus, the original 7-time, hashtag Raw Women's Champion.
Stay with that for a second, though, because the whole thing about getting the arm broken by Ronda Rousey. I don't know if you guys followed like live events at all, but they've been doing a segment at live events where Ronda's in the ring and Dana Brooke, which if they're trying to use anyone to help teach Ronda, I don't know why they're using her.
Dana Brooke and her Bang Bros
But-
fucking gimmick.
I thought it was Brazzers.
No, because we determined that Brazzers is a little more upscale.
High end?
That's
Okay.
more like
So
that's
she's-
more like Mickey James and Brazzers MILF videos.
All right. But
That's tier 1. So
they've
tier 2's back.
they've actually been having
She's been demoted to Bang Bros.
Yeah, they've been having Dana Brooke come out and confront Ronda, and they do like a segment where basically where it ends with Ronda getting her in an arm bar and forcing her to tap and then walking away. And then I think, and I apologize if I missed this, but I think they did something similar on Raw on Monday night.
Yeah, they did.
Okay, so that's I guess, they're, to their credit, they're actually using live events and sneaking Ronda onto them unannounced to do these little segments, I guess, to get some practice. But I don't know where they're going to go with this. I really don't.
Well, has anybody? I saw her do her. She was trying to do a suplex to Mandy or Sonya. It was one of the two in Absolution, and it just like she did not do it right at all.
She'll learn.
I know. I feel bad because just like, man, she's still got so much to learn. She's still so green.
You know what it is for me is it's not that she doesn't know how to do it. It's that she just gets so much adrenaline when it starts that
She's got to learn.
she basically has to slow herself down. And if she slows herself down and just hits the moves, she'll be fine.
Yeah, and to be fair too, she has to also just relax too and get the timing right on what the spot is, because also on Raw when Absolution first attacked her, you see Sonya come in and she literally looks like she lays her hand on her shoulder and then Ronda turns and I'm like, oh, she was supposed to counter that. She totally missed the spot right there. But they recovered from it though. It's just like she's still got to get it down, Hopefully she will.
Yeah,
she will. Let's just give her a chance,
Yeah, I mean, to your point, I truly don't believe if they haven't seen that she can do the moves, they're not going to put her out there to do them and put anybody at danger.
Yeah.
It's just like you said. I think she's an adrenaline junkie, man.
Yeah.
So it's learning to control those. And how many times do you guys here do shoot interviews and do interviews on podcasts and talk about, controlling your adrenaline when you get out there. Shane McMahon talked about when he made his return, how his adrenaline was up and he was pumped up and he had to take a minute to
Breathe,
settle himself down.
Dial it down.
She'll learn how to do that. And it's a different world for her. You're out there on a weekly basis in front of 15, 16, 17,000 people,
And it's she doesn't have any prior experience or training to it. So it's kind of like, I wouldn't wish that upon anybody, because that's probably one of the toughest things to do, is to learn how to wrestle, train how to do spots, all of that, And also, by the way, you're one of the most popular people in all of sports. Good luck.
Well,
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of pressure on
But
her
let's-
for right now.
Let's take a step back for a second and go back to a guy like Ken Shamrock and think about, when he came to WWE, he had prior professional wrestling experience.
He did.
And there's other people who have made the jump from combat sports to, professional wrestling and have worked other companies or developmental before they came to WWE. This is someone who is an Olympic medalist in, Taekwondo or Jiu-Jitsu? I forget which one it was. But, I mean, she's an Olympic medalist in a combat sport. She's a champion in UFC. And now she's coming into a worked shoot environment, never having actually worked in the environment before,
Right.
and making her debut on their biggest show of the year.
Right.
How anyone thinks that this is going to come off smoothly is beyond me.
Right.
So as long as she doesn't turn into a complete dumpster fire, to me, that's a success and we're moving on.
Agreed.
Because she'll pick it up.
Yeah.
Now, if this match turns into a complete clusterfuck to where you basically just get Angle versus Triple H one-on-one with the two of them on the outside because they're afraid to have her in the match, that might be a problem.
It's time to start talking about going back to NXT then.
Yeah.
I mean, realistically, listen, we've seen Shayna.
Well, going to.
Right. But you're talking about like Shayna Baszler. I mean, let's be honest. I mean, we've seen her and she's still rough.
Oh,
and,
yeah.
and she was
Well,
okay.
we
against
talked
Ember Moon,
talked
but
about that a few weeks ago after
Yeah.
Philadelphia, where I had said to you guys that she's about as green as the grass at Citizens Bank Park.
Yeah.
I mean,
if anything, that shows you how much work that Sonya Deville has put in. Daria Baronato, because she has worked in that MMA and fought in that MMA environment, has come from the combat sports world, and come over here, and you could tell when you watch that Tough Enough, she had the right attitude. She came in, she learned by the paces and all that. And again, you're talking about somebody who's come from that world but didn't have to worry about ESPN and Mike Golick throwing interviews at them.
So that's the
everybody
real
else.
tough part because, again, all that she's got all that attention. The spotlight is really going to be on her. And the sad part is she's going to have that microscope on her from a lot of people.
Mm-hmm.
And it's unfair, but it's going to happen.
yeah, you know what, though? A lot of people are ripping her. That Golick interview, I put as much of the blame for the shit show that interview was on him as I do on her. Because his questions, number one, they were fucking stupid.
Yeah.
And number two, you've been behind a microphone for how long now, Golick? Learn how to ask a goddamn question.
Yeah.
Can you go back in time? No, you can't go back in time. She was trolling him for the way he
That's what
asked
I
the
said.
Questions.
That's exactly what I said.
She was totally trolling him
There-
because he was a freaking moron in the interview process.
There's people that I talked to, and they said she's the dumbest person on earth. They said no, she's a very smart person. She completely. The instant I watched that, I started laughing because to me, you could tell that was a total troll job.
Oh yeah, she trolled the shit out of him.
I don't think she liked the fact that he just assumed she's retired from MMA because she has
Right.
never announced that she's retired from MMA. And then he follows it up with a stupid question about, can you go back in time? And she's like, you can't time travel. Fuck you.
Yeah.
Fuck your stupid question. Like, that's
Right.
what I took from it.
No, you're absolutely right.
And he didn't know. He was like, it was
and
great.
then he didn't know what to do.
Like, everybody's going to find a reason to shit on her because, again, we're in a culture where, boom, I think I talked about this Saturday, I believe, where, we build these people up, right? Everyone loved Ronda Rousey. And everyone loved, and then she lost twice, and now she's like,
Right.
fucking, she's garbage. Like, here's the thing I don't understand. People say, well, she had an attitude. Dude, when you're a fighter, you need to believe you're the best shit on the planet.
You better have an attitude.
Do people like fucking Muhammad Ali? Because nobody in the history of fucking sports ever had more of an attitude or an ego than Muhammad Ali. And I love the guy.
That's truth.
Like, let's be real. But and he's worshipped as an American icon in this country.
Mike Tyson didn't have an attitude?
Mike Tyson. Well,
He's the
there
king
were
of
I
attitude.
mean,
Like, whew.
He was the baddest man on the planet
but
for a
he-
reason.
But he was so soft spoken when he did it, though. I'm the greatest. I'm so good.
I'm gonna eat his children.
I'm gonna eat your children. But like, that's what we got, you know. But you know what? People love him.
He would get into the ring and he would fight every 6 weeks and take out guys in the first round.
Knock him the fuck out.
Yeah, it'd be like next.
And
He was Goldberg before Goldberg was cool,
He really was.
and that's no lie.
But people love these people. Now we're in a different culture where, see, those people weren't built up by those people. So we can look back and, oh, they were icons. We do the same thing, but now we're like, no, I'm done with you. So now I'm going to be on to the next thing. Cyborg. Look at her. Like, that. You think that chick don't have a fucking attitude? Like, she's going to kill everybody? I think she thinks she could go in there and kill half the guys. She probably could.
But but stop there for a second, because bring it back to professional wrestling for a second, though, because you have hit the nail on the head in the sense that as a professional wrestling fan, doesn't it bother you when you go to a show, even if it's like a local indie show or whatever, nobody ever gets the benefit of the doubt? Every show, every match, every wrestler gets shit on until they prove otherwise. And that's the nature of entertainment these days, is that every show on TV, every movie, every song, every piece of entertainment out there absolutely sucks until it doesn't. And that's the thing, is it so with Rhonda, people will just completely forget what she's done in the past, because in the WWE she completely sucks until she doesn't. Like, you got to give people a chance.
Right. No, I agree. And people, case in point, people love Trish Stratus. Trish Stratus, when she first came in and started working in the ring, was fucking awful. And I'm talking probably Ronda level awful as far as executing any kind of move. But she had the quote-unquote, pun intended, TNA. People overlooked some things. But you go back now and then people talk about what a great worker she ended up being.
Right.
She came from a world that was totally new to her. And there is a huge difference between the legitimate fight world and coming into a work shoot.
Well, I mean, so stay in that same era. Lita.
Oh,
I mean,
God.
people with their revisionist history want to say that Lita was a great worker. Lita was a botch waiting to happen every single match.
She almost broke her own neck 3 times. No, I agree.
And Maddie, I'm sure you probably have 5 or 6 that you remember too. So
Yeah, there was a couple times she went for that moonsault and she damn near killed herself.
Or the person under her.
or the moonsault would land with her knees on her opponent's face.
Yeah.
Yeah, somehow not killing the opponent somehow.
Like that's the culture we live in. You're absolutely right. Nobody gets a chance now, guys. Or we give them everything right away, and then we're like, nah, you don't get it. The Shield, Roman Reigns, people fucking love this guy. And then once they got what they wanted,
take it away.
You know what? I'm not
Pull
craving
the rug
that.
out from under.
I'm done. Like, make up your mind. Like, I choose to say I'm a wait and see kind of guy. Like, I'm gonna give him a chance. Like, if it's bad, I'm like, oh shit, wasn't good.
You're a wait and see kind of guy in a hit it and quit it society.
Yeah. And you'd think I'd be the opposite, right?
I don't know, man. I saw you at your birthday the other night.
Well, you see, that was the well, you see, the funny
Happy
part.
birthday, me.
Chrome's got honky tonk hips.
You see,
I think the whole fam saw it on Real Talk.
so Chrome has
Which,
the,
if you're not part
so-
of Real Talk, you need to join. You get to see Chrome gyrate behind Tom and Greg.
So Chrome has the ability to be the greatest intercontinental champion of all time.
I'm
That's
just
what we're
saying, I'll be a hell of a lot better than Tito. For damn sure.
Well, we knew that was going to come.
Oh,
up
I
at some
know.
point.
Velasco, Jim Velasco
He's
says,
got long sideburns and his hair slicked back. He's coming to your town in a pink Cadillac.
He's just a honky tonk
Exactly.
well, Greg Milakovic jumped in. He said, "What's up, fellas? I'm late to the
Greg.
show." He says, "Styles Nakamura for me, although Omega and Cody will be damn good as well." Frank Vespi, sorry to bother you guys at work. He's an inconsiderate prick every week, and he bothers us at work. But it's okay, Frank. We love you anyway.
I think that might be something with like Frank's Messenger.
Give me
Because there was the same comment last night on another one
does
of our
it all the
shows.
time.
It's like,
Yeah, he does.
sorry to bother you at work.
He does. It's his thing. It's his gimmick. But So
Just gimmick.
that's why I feed back into it now, and I give him a different thing every week.
Bro, does
But
he
he says,
is
"Give
he
me
like that on
Cody."
the fix? Just out of pure curiosity.
No, not yet.
Oh, okay. Just wondering.
So he says, "Give me Cody Omega would make for a very entertaining match." Jim Velasco says, and this is the purest example right now, current to date, Conor McGregor. Or, well, you could say Floyd Mayweather, which people do hate Floyd, but Conor McGregor is
I think
cockier than anyone else in
hate Floyd
MMA.
for a
and-
different reason,
Right.
though, but go ahead.
But he says Conor McGregor is the cockier than anybody else in MMA, and people love him.
True story.
Like, dude, if I'm a fan of a fighter, I want that guy to believe he's going to be the fucking best in the world. Like, easily. And not be CM Punk, I'm the best in the world. Like, a legitimate, and then we'll show up and get knocked the fuck out.
But you know what? You know what's crazy about that,
or
though?
tapped out.
Oh, that's
And
so
we could
funny.
go. This is obviously another show for another time, but you realize that when the Mayweather McGregor MMA match is finally booked, McGregor's working heel. And for as much as people love him,
He should
in
work
in,
heel.
in his own environment, he's going to work heel.
Good, he should. And that'll sell the amount of money that pay-per-view. I mean, it's gonna. I mean, it's never gonna make the box office that it made. But Jesus Christ, are they gonna sell
Just
a ton
by
of money?
nature, it won't make the box office.
Right,
that
and
it
that's
made
what
in-
that's what I'm
in the
saying.
boxing ring.
But I'll tell you what, man, you want to talk about blowing any other payday, any other box office that any MMA or
Has ever had. Yep.
Jesus Christ,
including Ronda's.
wow, yeah.
Yep.
So, but I mean, listen, I like to wait and see how she's gonna work. Give her a chance.
Yeah.
It's rough. I didn't think the Samoan drop she did to Stephanie originally was that bad. She kind of flattened her a little bit, but fuck it. She's got cushion. She's good. She's good.
Look,
I think they're
every,
real now too.
She's protected.
Every Samoan drop that I've seen Ronda do isn't any worse than the ones that Nia Jax
Oh,
does
you're
on a
right.
weekly basis.
Absolutely.
Yes,
You're
true.
out. That's a great point.
And Nia Jax is suddenly the most over thing on Raw. Why? Because she got shit on by her best friend, and now she's a sympathetic character, and she's going to go over at Mania in probably about a 2-minute squash.
You think it's going to be a squash?
I do.
Ooh.
Well, I
don't
think
know.
there's probably going to be a little bit of shenanigans from Mickie James on the outside before she'll deal with Mickie James pretty quickly, though. It'll be 5 minutes. We'll go 5.
You think?
A 5-minute squash. Just Mickie James has to get squashed.
Is this
first.
going to be like the Goldberg Brock Lesnar of last year? We'll get the squash match. I don't know. I mean, it's almost like an afterthought. Like they worked so hard to get this program finally off the ground, and it's like an afterthought now because
Right.
they've done. I hate the angle of it. I know what they're trying to do, but like I have a hard time watching a program where I watched Piggy James and how much like they hated that whole thing. And when you hear her talk about how like you hear that like she wasn't really a big fan of that whole thing, and it's essentially the same thing. They're making fun of somebody for their weight and really just tapping onto what their insecurities are.
Well, but here's what's crazy is that when they ran the whole Piggy James angle, she really wasn't fat.
No.
She had curves. So are we
She got curves.
right? But
Wow.
That's why she got promoted to Brazzers and Dana got demoted to Bang Bros.
right? But here's the thing. She looks. I mean, now she's older. She's still a curvy woman. She looks incredible.
She looks spectacular.
But is our society now in 2018 more willing to accept her as a curvy woman than they were
Well, probably.
however many years ago?
Probably.
I don't know. I think they were just trying to find a storyline and an angle at that time. Because they had the two really skinny Layla and you had a skinny Michelle McCool. Okay, well, how are we going to play off the heel ladies versus the baby face, and how are we going to get sympathy?
And I get that, but then like, just even when Mickey came back this last time around, and they're calling they're calling Alexa biscuit butt, and I'm like, I like biscuits. I eat biscuits for breakfast. What the hell is a biscuit butt?
I have no idea.
It must be a southern thing. Because
Or it's just a cheesy cheesy line.
I don't know.
Kristen Gideon says, "Hey guys, I think Nakamura and AJ will steal the show at WrestleMania." Matt Hatfield says, "Ronda is a draw on her name, and that's all Vince is worried about. Vince has zero concern about her in-ring skills right now. He's got 3 years trying to figure out. He's got 3 years to try and figure that part out.
And he's not wrong about
It's
that.
not a wrong thing. I don't think that he has zero concern about it. I truly believe if what they've seen in training and stuff that she can't pull moves off or it's dangerous, I don't see them doing it. I mean, they got Stephanie is like the one taking the bumps essentially.
Well,
But, you know, I think that they understand that it's more of a big name draw at this point until that develops. So
And-
you're not wrong, Matt, at all.
no, and to be fair, though, if worse comes to worse, if you're not as comfortable with her doing the suplexes or the Samoan drops, you can always resort back to the martial arts. You can always do that because you know
Strikes.
she'll know how to do that.
She might kick her head off on.
Well, no, maybe not go that far, but you know, as far as like the throw that she did
Yeah,
this past Monday on Raw, you can do things like that where it's just like, all right, it isn't going to be lethal, and at the same time, we know she can do it. So it's like, all right, it's a way of saying, okay, we're not going to expose her, and we're not going to let her get shit on by a crowd that will shit on anything at the drop of a hat.
No chance.
So-
That's what you've got.
Yeah, I know. I know.
That was Thomas Kennedy, our
That
one
was,
who
that,
just
was,
walked through.
that was the boss who was not happy about the,
Tom-
the
that-
result of the
That
Phillies.
was
fight.
Thomas Kennedy McMahon, our known, who just walked through, guys.
All right,
So
well,
let me ask you guys a question, because I was thinking about this earlier. Do you think that they have her in the ring with Triple H and Stephanie because they don't necessarily trust anyone outside of the McMahon family to not take liberties with her or to make her look less than spectacular on that stage?
I mean, it is a good point because she did get heat the moment she walked in from several females in the back. Some have no reason to hate her.
Probably
Others
most
do.
of them.
Either way, I could see that being a possibility where you're afraid she may get a stiff shot or two, and then the reprisal that she may throw back will be even worse.
Like I'm thinking that if they want to keep that under control, you use the executives of the company.
Well, I think that could be an element of it, but I do think that there's still a WrestleMania 31 instant program
And
that wasn't
you're
thrown
absolutely
out.
right. You're absolutely right.
In regards to what you said with people having heat, I said this before. When you're on fucking ESPN every week, when your product is being talked about and it's being exposed, there's no such thing as bad publicity.
no.
And I'll tell you what, it's not like she's coming in getting thrown into a world title match.
No.
Is she on the Mania card? Of course she is. Dude, fucking Snooki was on the Mania card. All right, like let's have real talk. I had no
Hashtag Snooki Talk.
hashtag Snooki talk.
God, wasn't that also the worst WrestleMania in like the last? Was it that one or was it another?
She was on
one?
28, I want to say.
Wasn't that the worst one?
No,
Was that
27 was. pretty
27.
terrible.
Okay, so it was the year before.
One thing I didn't mention, by the way, when you brought up 27 and you talked about the Miz on Saturday during the roundtable, which if you guys didn't check it out, it's available on YouTube and Facebook.
That was a lot of fun.
First
too.
half is on Facebook. The entire thing is on YouTube. Please check it out. What I love about that Mania, it wasn't the match. What I loved was the promo package of the Miz going into it. To me, was one of the best promo packages WWE, and they do a fantastic job, right? But like I think it was Miz behind the control room and all the highlights of different things, like coming up from the bottom, and dude, they made him at that point where he was still kind of getting sold to the audience.
Right.
They made him look like $1 million fucking bucks in that program. And I,
Well,
to this day,
no,
I still
you're-
go back and I get like chills watching.
No, you're absolutely right because they made him. They basically rolled out the red carpet for him and said, "You can either walk down the red carpet or you can trip over the edge of it." And he ran down that carpet.
He did. He did.
And then they single-handedly made him an afterthought at that WrestleMania, which is a shame, but they did.
But look now, and look where he's come all the way back.
He has come all the way back.
He-
and to his
he-
credit,
He may be in the top 3 of the most entertaining things
Absolutely.
on WWE TV.
Absolutely. I don't even think there's a question. Not maybe. He is.
he's
And I don't know if you guys caught the. There was a ride along. It was the Miz Taraj
I haven't watched it yet. I am going to
doing-
watch it.
in a limo from Baltimore the night before Royal Rumble up to Philly for Royal Rumble, Raw, and SmackDown. Absolutely hilarious ride along.
Yeah.
You guys have to check it out. It's unbelievable.
Speaking of Miz, there's no concerns that he's gonna have any issues with the baby because they had the baby early yesterday, so we're good with that. Congratulations to Miz and
Congratulations
Maurice.
to the Mids. Yeah.
No, but so speaking of networking, you want to talk Miz stuff that's good. They have that new thing. I think it's called Photo Shoot, where they sit them down.
Yeah.
It's like a 15 or 20-minute segment, and they just show clips from like the beginning. It could be before they started wrestling, and it just kind of goes through their career, and they tell stories about backstories.
I've seen 4 of them.
They're pretty good.
I've seen The Miz,
Cesaro, right?
Cesaro, Charlotte, and Kofi Kingston.
It's the
And
Kofi I didn't watch yet.
All 4 of them were
Great.
absolutely phenomenal.
The Bischoff one's really good, too.
See, I haven't watched that one yet.
It's
I'm
on there.
looking
Yeah.
forward to that.
I have to watch the Kofi one. Matt Hatfield says, personally, I think she'll be fine, talking about Ronda, with her work, but it's her facials and everything else. That's the biggest thing she needs to work on that. That a possibility. No one in the back wants to see Ronda give someone a receipt with Lesnar. Like Lesnar did to Strowman, which was fucking crazy, by the way. When he slugged, when he slugged him, after Braun hit Lesnar with a stiff knee. I agree with you on that.
Yeah.
That's probably what they're really concerned about. And again, that's one of those things I agree. You know, obviously, even just the announcement of, I choose you. Like, they did the real corny drum roll and stuff, which I didn't think was necessary,
Right.
but she totally missed the cue on that. And yeah, I mean, I think part of the facial things, and we talked about this before, it's her. She's a legit fan, so it's like her excitement of being out there, you know.
Real quick on the YouTube chat. I know we're getting ready to get up.
We're gonna run
against it
this
here.
one. Save your
But,
thought. We're gonna hit that in the next side.
Just this last one that I want to hit here, only because I've already looked into this. It's actually a good one. Todd Womack says, "What's good, guys? Reporting in from the
What's
night
up,
shift.
Todd?
If Shane can't go, it should be Y2J replacing him." The reason that I wanted to hit this is I have already checked the Fozzy schedule for WrestleMania weekend because they're in Philly Friday night. I'm actually going to the show.
Nice.
But they have shows Thursday night, Friday night, Saturday night, Sunday night. He is booked that entire weekend. There's no way that he gets to New Orleans to appear at WrestleMania.
Which is a shame because that would have been absolutely perfect.
Great thought, though.
So,
Great,
phenomenal
great
thought.
Yeah.
Phenomenal thought.
So Maddie's going to do the read in a minute. Thank you guys for joining us on Facebook. If you're on Facebook, we're dropping the link.
Get over to the YouTube.
Get over to the YouTube for the second half. There's much more to watch on Thunder.
We gotta go. If the
next-
match ends and the
during the-
title changes,
During the 5-minute break and the title
We'll
changes,
show it to you.
We'll roll the
roll the
footage.
tape.
But yeah, thanks for joining us. If you're on YouTube,
David, we gotta go.
on Facebook and Periscope. Maddie, give us the read.
All right, well, all this was brought to you by Scanzano Sports Center, located at 5 Carnegie Plaza in Cherry Hill, New Jersey. Give them a call at 856-889-3434 or visit them on the web at www.scanzanosports.com.
We'll check you on the other side on YouTube.
What's up, family? Tom Arnone. Wanna talk?
Yes, welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to Lazy Booking here on A2DRadio.com, brought to you by Sports Outlet for all your sporting needs. They are located at 703 Black Horse Pike in Glendora, New Jersey. You can give them a call at 856-939-2030 or email them at sportsoutletnj@comcast.net or visit them on the web at www.sportsoutletinc.com.
Boom. Another body slam by Maddie. Welcome back to A2DRadio.com, Lazy Booking, live from the BMW Atlantic City Studios. Thank you if you joined us on YouTube from Facebook and Periscope. We appreciate you making the jump. Thank you guys on YouTube for sticking with us. We talked a lot about Ronda Rousey. We started talking some Mania stuff. We'll continue to talk that. I'd like to get into a little bit of the NXT card that we have coming up because I think it's fucking stacked, for the lack of a better term. I think this has a shot at being the best NXT takeover yet. So we're going to talk that. We'll talk much more. So Mike Mataraki, Chrome, Matty Sensuti, Ryan Brodo over on the ones and twos. Ryan does have a headset. Hopefully he'll have something to say a little more this second
I do
half.
have a question for you guys later on.
I like questions, Maddie. Or Maddie, Ryan, whatever the hell your name
Maddie,
is.
Ryan, whatever.
We do
Matty
look
Ryan.
a lot
Either,
alike.
either way, I do have a question.
You
so-
guys, well, you guys are both handsome in your different ways. So I mean, I can't,
Well,
I
thank
can't
you.
take all this
we-
hotness on the couch with you guys. Jesus,
We do look a lot alike, by the way.
Yeah, we do.
Just saying.
it's
Put us
it's
side
too
by
much.
side, you couldn't tell the difference at all.
Mike's like, no.
Check, please.
Yeah.
This is what happens.
He's having none of it.
I'm sorry, guys. This is what happens when people post shirtless Gabe Kapler shirts. There are pictures in the A2D Real Talk
You're
group.
scatterbrained at
You're
this
still
moment.
recovering, right?
Yeah.
See, but you know what? Though? This is going to be the battle all season because half the fan base is going to want this guy fired, the men, and the other half of the fan base
It's gonna want him
is
to take
going
his
to
shirt
want him
off.
to take his shirt off.
All-
And no guy will want to piss off his woman, so it'll just be dead silence.
All I
So-
can say is if you have any, interest in the Phillies at the moment, do not go on Twitter. I made that mistake. Do not go on Twitter at the moment. Do not search hashtag Phillies and go in the recent. Just do not do it. Just don't do it.
All I'm going to say is it's 1 of 162.
Yeah,
I
guys.
can't
let's not
do
get
this
worked up.
162 times.
It's just a really bad day because two things happen within the course of 30 minutes.
30 minutes, yeah.
Yeah,
And I'm not okay. That's why I went quiet.
When it rains, it fucking pours.
Right.
So what's your question?
Oh, you want me to get to it now?
Throw it in there. Yeah.
So-
this is more of our leisure time where we just go with the fam or go with us, whatever
Hence
we
why
want.
we have a nice little couch here.
man.
Yes. So, speaking of NXT, you kind of brought up, a possible discussion later on as far as who could be showing up the night after WrestleMania.
Yes.
Who you can have multiple, or who is the most likely NXT superstar or superstars that you expect to show up after WrestleMania the week of, and if you have somebody, add a storyline. You know what? Since it is lazy booking, book how they will be called up.
That's a good question.
I have one, but I want to go to you guys first because I'm very intrigued to see, because I can actually see mine happening.
I mean, I could see the authors of pain, but I don't, because the tag team could definitely use a boost. But if I'm given one, I think Almas. I think CN. Velveteen Dream.
Or now we might get hit.
That's why I pulled it after 5 seconds.
If you're still watching us,
No, I'm thinking. I think Almas. I don't think that I think Aleister Black's going to win that. I don't know that Almas is going to stay down there and continue to feud. They're having a big influx now of talent coming in, so you're going to start seeing a little bit of the changing of the guard. I would suggest he would probably come up and maybe be the next challenger to Nakamura, because I think Nakamura is going to end up defeating AJ. The only thing with that is who's going to talk. It's going to be tough, and I don't mean that to be a smart ass.
No,
No, it's true.
Oh, that's funny.
No, you're absolutely right.
I mean, he does have Selena Vega, but it's I don't know. But gun to my head now, that's who I would say. That's who I would bring up. Let me say that.
I think
put
I think
subtitles
Aleister Black actually stays down there for a while.
I think again. Yeah.
I think he gets a title run, and I think they're going to use him the way they used Finn Balor a couple of years ago to be the guy who's on the top of the card for the better part of a year, year and a half, and works all of these new guys to get all the new guys ready? Great question, Ryan. I mean, I actually have no issue with Almas at all. I think it's a great answer. I actually do think Velveteen, and I make the joke all the time, but I do think he's going to go up without ever sniffing the NXT title. I think they're going to use him similar to the way they use Elias, where, he doesn't need to have a title run in NXT to prove that he's ready for the main roster. How great of a feud would Elias and Velveteen be? Oh, God.
Say my name. Say my name.
But I mean, you have Elias in the ring with the guitar, getting ready to play a song, and then all of a sudden Velveteen's music hits, and he dances his way down to the ring with the entourage.
Oh, God.
That whole thing is just a heat magnet.
It is, but at the same time, does that mean we're turning Elias face?
Or Velveteen's face.
I love Velveteen Dream as he is. I love his heel
I would
gimmick.
turn Elias face in that situation.
I would too. At this point, he's so white hot right now that I think you could get away with it. The only thing is, how much do you love how he gets everybody behind and then talks shit on every city he's in? It's great.
Well, and here's the thing, though. Why would you walk with Elias when you can dance with the Dream?
Oh God.
Dear Lord.
I just wrote the storyline. That is not lazy booking. Maddie.
I have a feeling you're going to take mine, Maddie, but go ahead.
Okay. One is Sanity. I can see them coming up.
I think they're ready.
I would say they go, if they do not move the Usos and the Usos stay on SmackDown, they go on to SmackDown to face the Usos. If the Usos retain their tag team titles, that is. Even if the Bludgeon Brothers win, I can still see them going on to SmackDown.
Yeah, it's tough because I could see the Authors of Pain, and I think they would be a formidable team to go against the Bludgeon Brothers if they win the tag titles.
Who works babyface on that one?
For the Bludgeon Brothers?
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
if it's a Bludgeon Brothers and Authors of Pain?
Authors of Pain.
You think they come in as babyfaces?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah, I kind of.
I don't have an issue with that. I was just curious.
Like, I think when they were working with Sanity, they were kind of walking that line
Tweeners.
anyway.
Yeah.
So I mean, I kind of had it in my head that they're probably going to come up as faces anyway.
With or without Ellering?
With.
Okay.
Yeah, I think he'll be back up on the main roster. I think that he adds an element to them that I think is necessary. I don't think that these guys are going to be great talkers and stuff, at least not now. So I think, one of the things, I like the Sanity answer because I actually wanted to bring it up on one of the future shows. Maybe we'll bring it up now. They don't have enough, legitimate factions in wrestling anymore. And they'll throw some guys together and they'll work together like the United Nations, which was a fucking flop.
Can I ask you to backtrack a step?
Oh, God.
They don't have legitimate factions in WWE. Everything in New Japan is a faction.
Right.
Like, I was just cracking up Sunday night when I'm watching that show because every guy that comes out, here's his name on the screen, and there's the faction that he's a part of.
Yeah,
it's
true.
Everything in New Japan is a faction.
You're right. No, that's absolutely true. But I think that's a good one, Sanity, and I think that would create an element, and maybe that would push them to have to create a faction.
That's my tag team.
Okay.
Now, my single one, you may say is a little crazy and a little bit out of left field.
Probably.
Adam Cole, baby. No,
not yet.
No, I think he has enough appeal. A lot of people. He got a huge pop coming out to the Rumble. He's getting big support everywhere he goes. I mean,
yeah, but that's because he's Adam Cole. Everybody. Finn Balor came in with a ton of support.
Right, but I'll actually go flip side on this for you. If Aleister Black's going to be at the top of the card, who's the foil? That's your guy.
Mm-hmm.
At least for a while.
No, I mean, I absolutely think that you're going to get Adam Cole and Aleister Black at TakeOver.
For a while.
At Brooklyn. In SummerSlam.
But I actually think that could be a program not unlike Bayley and Sasha that goes for 5, 6, 7 months.
In NXT, you're saying?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, the good thing about NXT is they can pull it off because they don't do a pay-per-view every month.
Exactly.
So you can drag that out for 6 months. I mean, we saw it with Nakamura and Joe. We saw it with Finn and Kevin Owens.
Right.
So they could absolutely
Finn
do
and
that.
Joe.
Finn and
Yeah.
Joe. I mean, that's the benefit of the NXT product is that they're not. That's what I loved wrestling is that every 2 or 3 months there's a pay-per-view and it's not overexposed.
Well, here's the thing, too. That's great about the NXT product. Here's the thing, though. You do run the risk of it being so good at NXT that when they come up to WWE, it's shit because WWE either overbooks it or underbooks it. That's the big concern that I have with anything like that. Don't get me wrong. They should still go with it, but that's the concern when it comes up to the main roster, that they're going to do something stupid with it at some point.
But I don't get overly concerned about that.
I
'Cause
know who you're going to take.
I
go ahead.
Yeah, we're going to get to that.
Yeah, we'll get-
But to your point, I look at like Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn. Started in NXT, it was really good. They've come up. It's taken a different turn. It took a little while to get some tread, but now you're like the fire's getting behind it. Like I look at Zayn and Owens as that should be Brett and Shawn right now, and that's another thing. Like you should have these rivalries that parallel each other throughout their careers, and it doesn't. You don't just have to pick one set of guys to do it. You do it with them.
Speaking of guys that are kayfabing the hell out of people right
Amazing.
now, Kevin Owens' Twitter is now back to Kevin Steen, and Sami Zayn's Twitter has been taken over by El Generico.
El Generico, yes. I love it. Yes, Ryan sent that to me. Yeah.
Who swam out of the lake of reincarnation.
It's great. No, and I love it. The only thing that Kevin Owens is missing is it would say kill Steen kill instead of fight Steen
That
fight.
probably
Right,
didn't
right.
get approved
Yeah,
by the
I'm
office.
sure. I'm sure at some point they're like, we gotta kibosh that.
All
But
right, what do you got, Ryan?
kayfabe is great. I love
So,
it.
you know how I always go back to one thing when I book, and that is building up the illustrious Paul Heyman faction.
Mm-hmm.
So I brought up, a couple weeks ago that I think, Paul Heyman should go with Nakamura and Rousey in a tag team. No. Because there's something that I can honestly see happening before that. It would make sense for it, and I think Vince would be 100% behind it. And they could do it even if Mr. Lesnar sticks around. So, Paul Heyman will come out to the ring, and they will try and do what they couldn't do with Curtis Axel, with how he's the young guy that comes up. The guy that will be the next Paul Heyman guy will be Drew McIntyre.
Oh, I thought you were going somewhere else. With a similar concept. I thought you were going EC3.
Too soon.
Thinking that too.
Okay.
Too soon. I would love that, and it would fit perfectly, but I think they're going to take their time with him down there. Like, listen, if I'm going with what I would do, EC3 would definitely be at the top of the list. But going by what I think they will do and could do, Drew's been scheduled to be back imminently for weeks now. Okay? It looked like he was going to be ready for an imminent roster debut before he got hurt.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, Vince loves the guy. The one big thing he didn't like about the guy was that, obviously, the accent. That was his problem years and years ago. The guy has all the tools in the ring. All he needs is a cocky manager. And Drew can go face. He can be heel. He can do whatever he wants. And that could be billed as the next monster because of the size of Drew. They can do whatever they want with it. For me, I would much rather Paul Heyman go after other guys, but going by, I know how much they like Drew. I think they believe in him finally. They're going to go in the right direction with him. I could honestly see them doing that.
I love Drew McIntyre as a Paul Heyman guy. Like I said, I thought you were going to go EC3. It took you literally 3 seconds to sell that idea on me. I think it's fantastic.
Yeah, it's a good idea. My only concern is that Drew doesn't need a mouthpiece, and he's done so much with his work in other organizations, with Impact Wrestling, and when he's worked around the world, to develop a really strong character that can cut a promo. I wouldn't want to see them undercut that, because Heyman is the type of guy, though, that would overshadow that.
Well,
I mean, but think about it this way, though. When the Dangerous Alliance was around back in the WCW day, he had everybody on that entire alliance could cut a promo. He had Rick Rude. He had
Rick Rude had Bobby
Austin.
Heenan his whole career.
Yeah, but it wasn't like Rick Rude couldn't cut a promo. He could easily cut a promo. I mean, all he had to do was talk about how gorgeous he was.
You're right,
you know?
but he's on a whole. Paul Heyman's on a whole other level than even the Dangerous.
And I
Alliance
get that,
was.
but he did have people who could do it. I just saying. I know it was
I
a
hear
different time, different period.
I hear you, and there's a lot more talking in
If
wrestling.
if
now,
we're going with that point on
Listen, you 3 fat, smelly South Jersey sweat hogs. Shut your mouths while I take my robe
off and show the ladies what a real man looks like.
if Paul Heyman, if we're going with that point of yours that they, for example, Drew doesn't need a mouthpiece, then they would never put him with EC3 then.
I don't think he should.
Never.
I don't think it's a good idea to put him with EC3. I could see Drew McIntyre. EC3 does not need a mouthpiece at all. I would not put him, especially with him just coming back and everybody knowing his backstory with WWE. What a fucking failure that was. Not on him. What a failure that was. He has really developed a character to where his character is Carter, and they still let him essentially keep the EC3 gimmick.
Right, but here's why I think it does work, at least short term with Heyman, because Heyman could position it as EC3 is the guy that he would have loved to have had when he ran
Right.
ECW.
You're right.
He's
I
the
get
guy.
that.
He's the guy that he would have loved to have had instead of CM Punk. He's the guy that he would have loved to have had instead of Curtis Axel. He's the guy that he would have loved to have had, except for the fact that the WWE didn't see the brilliance of EC3. You only have to have them together for a couple of months just to reintroduce the character, and then just let him run.
Well, here's a question then, all right? While we're on the Paul Heyman, topic, we'll do a little booking question for you, okay? You have the following to work with. You don't have to use all of them, but you have them at your disposal. A tag team, a women's wrestler, a singles competitor, and an NXT guy. You have those four options. Build your ideal Paul Heyman faction.
Build my Paul Heyman faction.
And like I said,
out
you
of
can only
that.
go with one guy, or you can use all four. A tag team, a women's wrestler, a singles competitor, and an NXT guy.
The Revival would be my tag team.
Yeah, it's a great team for him.
A woman would be Ronda, because she really needs it. What was the other two?
NXT,
NXT.
and a main roster superstar that's already up here.
CCN would be good, but he has Vega. She's phenomenal with him. So I think Heyman needs to go with guys who can't talk fantastically.
Agree.
And I have to say, NXT's pretty packed with people that are good talkers. I'll go back to that. But if I'm going a main roster, aside from Brock Lesnar, main eventer, Nakamura would probably really benefit having him. I think I would have to go Nakamura. I'd have to get back to you on the NXT.
I got it.
'cause
I got the whole thing.
Go ahead.
All right. Finn Balor, Gallows and Anderson, Becky Lynch, Lars Sullivan.
Lars is a good NXT choice, actually. I agree with that.
Go through that again. So who's your main roster singles guy?
Finn Balor.
Oh, Finn. Oh,
Finn is my main roster singles guy.
okay.
Gallows and Anderson. So you're keeping the club together, but you have your single and your tag team.
Okay.
Your female is Becky Lynch, and your NXT is Lars Sullivan.
Interesting. Maddie?
Oh,
Maddie's
that's
like,
int-
you
that's-
stole my Bullet Club.
If I wasn't going Ronda, I think Becky Lynch would be my second choice. So that's a good pick. I just think Ronda needs it so bad. at this
No,
point.
you're absolutely right.
There's only one other person that I think would make sense. If it's not Ronda or Becky, I know you don't like her, Chrome. Sasha. I'm just saying, the intros that Paul Heyman would make, he would be managing the boss, the advocate of the boss,
I know. I just don't love
The
it.
advocate of the boss.
I'm not saying it doesn't make sense.
Interesting.
I just don't.
the boss of the boss.
the boss of the boss of the boss. Snoop Dogg's in their entourage now. Fuck it.
I'm interested to see which way you go with this, Maddie.
all right. Let me think here. All right, just for devil's advocate reasons, how about we throw out Asuka as possible
Okay.
as the woman?
The reigning, defending,
Undisputed
undisputed WWE Women's Champion.
SmackDown champion.
Yeah.
The Empress of Tomorrow.
There you go.
Undefeated.
Ooh.
Throw that in there in that intro.
Undefeated for the next probably year and a half.
She might be up until Mania.
Yeah.
That's
Tag team. That's the tough one. I'm trying main roster guy because Balor's now off the table. I would actually.
You could still throw Balor on yours if you wanted to.
I wanted to throw Balor in there. I wanted to throw Balor in there.
Steven, son of a
Damn you,
bitch.
Mike.
Come on the show twice a month and you steal my shit. just try to get all my shit. That's my suplex, damn it.
But to throw out somebody different, Rollins.
Don't hate it at all. Don't hate it at
I
all.
don't think he needs it, but I think Rollins would be a good choice. You could definitely sell them two together.
I like it because I actually prefer Rollins as a heel than a babyface.
What about Roman?
That was literally. Damn you, Chrome!
Roman. Just saying, like Roman.
Right, but you don't think they're already kind of setting that up?
I hope.
They
I
could
listen.
be, yeah.
If the end game to this ends up being Brock walks and Heyman takes Roman, dude, you could play that off as like you could totally sell that he.
How many
Brock
times?
is now his time has passed. He was the next big thing. His
Right,
time
but
has
how
passed.
many times over the last couple weeks though has Heyman referenced his family and the reverence that he has for his family and the Samoan dynasty and the whole deal? They're planting seeds. Whether they actually pull them carrots out of the garden, we don't know. But they are planting seeds.
Yeah.
Did you give your four? by
Go
the way?
ahead, Maddie. So you got all right. Rollins, you need a tag team.
Yeah. We'll come back to that. NXT guy, I'm gonna throw EC3 in there,
Okay.
and then tag team wise, I'm still struggling on this one. This one's tough.
Can it be an NXT tag team?
Well, I was gonna say mine might technically be disqualified. If you want, while you're thinking about it, you want me to give my four?
Sure, go
Braun
right ahead.
Strowman and James Ellsworth.
Yeah. I'm telling you, that would be that would be electric if that happened.
Team two hands.
Yes.
James Ellsworth is a Paul Heyman guy.
So I'm gonna structure this like a draft. So I'm not gonna take anybody that was already taken. Okay.
Roman's still on the table. I technically took Nakamura.
Yeah, I'll go somebody else.
Gold, Jerry, gold.
So, for my tag team, War Machine,
I like it.
I like that.
and I don't know if that's technically a main roster or an NXT. It's probably
Doesn't matter.
NXT, but
No,
right now
they're technically NXT. They've been appearing on NXT house shows, so
my NXT singles competitor is Drew McIntyre. The women's wrestler is tough. If I'm not going to go with Ronda or Becky Lynch or Asuka, the more I think about it, I don't necessarily like Sasha with Paul Heyman.
Yeah, I don't get in. I don't like.
Part of me would like to see Paul Heyman manage Nia Jax. That would
I
make a
buy
lot
that.
of sense.
I like that.
I could buy that.
Especially if Roman is the guy.
My main event singles competitor,
Mhm.
I'll go a little outside the box here. Bobby Roode. A heel Bobby Roode.
Oh,
The glorious one, the heel Bobby
That
Roode.
was right there, too, the whole time. None of us thought of that. What the hell?
I'm gonna jump on what you said, but I want Maddie to finish this.
Yeah,
was
I
gonna-
do too.
I was going to say, if you ever did turn Bailey heel, that's the perfect manager for her. by
I
the
was
way.
thinking that if
Yeah.
you didn't mention her, dude, Roman, Nia, the Usos.
Oh my God, the freaking.
And by the way, that
yeah.
was going to be my tag team. I had just decided that
Like,
when you
that
said
would
that.
actually that would make sense if he goes with the
fucking-
Usos.
The
Yeah.
Samoan fucking dangerous alliance.
The
I mean, that wouldn't be the name of it,
Samoan Dynasty.
but a Samoan dynasty.
Oh my Lord.
And then I don't know if there's another Samoan in NXT, but if there is, I'll take them. Or you can just throw Lars in there as a random. Fuck it, Lars. Why not? We'll tan him up.
I have to think if there's a
Just put,
Samoan.
just put Ricochet with them.
Yeah.
Why not? Absolutely.
And we'll bill him from Tonga.
He's got the tribal tattoos all over him.
he does.
The king of flippy shit.
By the way, if they want to they're doing good jobs with 205 Live. By
They
the
want to
way,
fix it. That's your
make
guy.
make
Yeah.
Paul Heyman the general manager.
I think he's above it.
Yeah,
Well,
think
I
he's
agree.
way
Oh,
above
he's
it.
way above it. It'll never happen. But I'm saying, could you imagine if he goes back to his general manager role?
Well, if the rumors that they're going to bring Hulk Hogan back to be the general manager of SmackDown are true, then anything could happen. And I mean anything could happen.
So you gave your 4, Maddie?
Yes.
We all gave our 4. Now the question is, do we honestly see – I do. Do we honestly see
You could throw Tamina Snuka into that
There you go.
faction
Maybe.
too.
– do we see Paul Heyman getting an opportunity to do something like that again, where he has a faction? Because the last time we saw it was Rybaxel.
I'm going to say no. I think, and the only reason for that is because it would require too much airtime for him and not enough airtime for the competitors or the in-the-ring action. I think he needs first off, if this is in fact Lesnar's last match in WWE, we're not going to see Paul Heyman for a while. I think what's going to happen is it might be 3, 4, 5 months down the road where all of a sudden he comes out and people go nuts because they think Brock is coming back, and he winds up introducing the next Paul Heyman guy. Unless it's Roman, in which case it happens immediately after Mania.
Could Paul Heyman potentially screw Brock at WrestleMania?
Absolutely.
No, the only thing I've thought about, I did read that if Brock walks, Heyman may go as well because their contracts are up at the same time.
Which is possible.
So
I'll say this, though. If they do some kind of screw job on Brock at WrestleMania, whether it's scripted or not, which it would be scripted, obviously.
Yeah.
But if they try to do some sort of swerve or screw job or whatever to get the title off of Brock without completely burying him, it will not be the main event of the show because they will not close WrestleMania like that.
Well, I think the main event's probably going to be Cena and whatever version of The Undertaker shows up. Personally.
We don't even know if he is showing up. We don't know.
Dude,
Hashtag do something.
So wait, that was something we were going to talk about. Okay, so let's
go there.
Let's go there. We have to.
That would be the
Is
ultimate.
he showing up this
am
week?
an American badass.
That would be the ultimate troll too if they did all of that and he never actually wrestled John Cena, the biggest troll in the history of the WWE universe.
I'll tell you what. If it works out the way I booked it fucking a month ago, I will toot my horn on the show for a fucking month. I'm telling you. Because that was just the most random thing, and I really didn't think he would not show up on the show. If they actually book this match to where they don't have it as a selling point, and I started thinking too, right? Because I go to, all right, so from my experience of going to wrestling, or going to WrestleManias, other than last year, Cena does almost every access. And Undertaker, up until last year, does every access. And I thought to myself, I'm like, how could they not have either one of them on access? And then I'm like, okay, well, technically Taker's not around. And now I'm like, all right, well, Cena's a fan at WrestleMania. Could be something that they're playing into. I don't know.
To answer your
Maybe I'm
question
overthinking it, but
on will he show up on Raw?
No.
No.
Nope.
And I think that 100% guarantees, at least to me, that he shows up as the American Badass.
Oh, I don't think there's a doubt he's showing up as the American Badass.
It just makes so much sense now. Like I was saying, like I was reading like conspiracy theories on Twitter, and actually it's one of the few times Twitter actually makes sense. You know, I was going down the line, they were saying, you know, Raw 25, he didn't have his gloves on, he looked different because technically he left those, you know, parts of his attire in the ring last year's WrestleMania. He's very, you know, traditional, he's old school, so he's not going to go against that. Listen, man, if he's going to pull a loophole, this is how he does it.
So, do you like that? If he doesn't show up and it ends up being a challenge at Mania and then it goes down that way, whether it's unsanctioned or just a match that they called it, how do you feel about that being the route that they went? Do you think that's a good thing, a bad thing? I think it's different. I like it. Go ahead.
It's an attempt
Need a
at
drink of water.
It's definitely an attempt of trying to make a surprise happen at WrestleMania because they don't really have a surprise right now besides the possibility of whomever could be Braun's tag team partner. Watch it be John Cena. But anyway, like if they pull that route, then it's like, oh my god, like it's official, WWE's dead. But it's a great way to get people to talk about it, and it's a great way to people to just tune in to see if it's actually going to happen. So it is a smart strategy on their part not to have him show up on a Monday Night Raw to pretty much guarantee it. However, it depends on how the business is doing. If the business is doing great, tickets are flying off the roof, fine, who cares? It's Mania, but still. If it's going great, awesome. If not, then you have no choice. You got to tease it then. But I like it because it gets people interested in the idea of what it could be.
I'm with you.
I just had a thought that.
Don't hurt yourself, buddy.
Yeah, I know. See the smoke coming out of my ears. So, you've been to Access numerous times.
Mm-hmm.
At Access, they have an actual NXT miniature arena set up where they do.
They have like a ring set up and
Right,
they
and
do
they
matches
do
with
they
NXT
do some
stars.
matches. They
Right.
shoot a couple TVs there, whatever. Don't they usually also honor like one of the legends during Access, like at the NXT show?
Well, so
Was it like the Flair
it's
statue?
over a couple of days.
and-
It's the last, they've unveiled a new statue every year. Last
Okay.
year was Flair.
So this year at Access, Undertaker statue. He shows up.
be.
He shows up completely out of character, as does John Cena, and calls him out during the statue ceremony at Access. The only cameras that pick it up are WWE.com. The whole thing gets barraged out there through social media, and The Undertaker still doesn't answer him. The Undertaker just stares at him. Doesn't give him a yes or no, and Cena loses his mind because The Undertaker doesn't answer him. There's Cena working heel. Done.
Yep.
No, I like it.
Well, I had said a few weeks ago on the show, I said this is going to be as close to a John Cena heel turn we will ever see for the rest of his career. If people really want to see him turn heel, this is as close as you're going to get. Now, on whether I like it or not, I love it, but I hope they don't go full gimmick American Badass. I hope they put a spin on it to where they make it sort of not Undertaker the character, Undertaker the man.
Mark Calloway, the
Mark
man.
Calloway.
Be-
the
So
man.
do you want him to come out with like the gray hair and shit? Like
No.
gray beard? Do you want him to come out with gray
Yeah.
beard?
No, I mean, I don't want him to look like somebody's dad or anything. You know what I
Is he,
mean?
is he allowed to ride the motorcycle?
Yes, 100%.
All right.
I mean,
I
that's
just
who
You
he
don't-
got to
is.
have the motorcycle.
Yes, I don't want them going full like with the American flag, that whole spiel. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And the thing that sticks with me was one of the first promos that Cena cut on Undertaker, where he referenced how he's posting workout videos on the wife's Instagram.
Yeah.
Which is so behind the curtain,
Right.
to where it's like, oh my God, the Undertaker uses a phone? What?
He's attacking
You know what I
the
mean?
man. Which I went back and watched those videos too. He does. He's doing like squats and shit with her, which is whatever. But no, I'm with you, Ryan.
I'd be doing squats with Michelle McCool, too.
I'd be letting her do the squats.
Exactly.
No, I'm with you, Ryan. I like it. I think it's a different way to go about it. I don't want it to just be like a brawl, though.
No.
I want it to be somehow they figure it out. Somebody comes out, send out a referee, like Vince or whoever. I don't give a fuck who it is, but I would like to see that, and I think that would be very interesting. Now, go ahead.
Well, I was going to say real quick, if that ends up happening and he doesn't show up until WrestleMania, they can't go on last.
No, I know that they can't.
So
go
I
on
just
that.
thought of that. It just won't work, unfortunately.
Unless Cena comes out and he's just like, guys, I hope you had a great time at the show.
He's the MC.
See you
Well,
later.
no, because it's classic house show. Your top babyface always closes out the house show on a microphone. So if he comes out to, maybe they make John Cena the quote-unquote host like they did with New Day last
They could
year.
do that.
And he comes out to close out the show.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden you hear the,
Oh my God! Oh my God! It's only a week away. It's just over a week away. Oh my God!
Put your finger in the air, let me see where you're at. Say, hey, hey.
I love it.
Oh,
I love when Chrome starts singing. It's the best. It's the best thing ever.
Ooh. All right, guys. Listen, good talk. Mike, good to have you back on the couch this week,
Hey, thanks,
buddy.
boys. I appreciate it.
I
I'm 2 wrestling nerd shows in a 7-day span.
That's crazy.
5-day span.
And, Maddie, we still have another show next week to do, buddy, too. We have the true intro to WrestleMania coming up, and Mike will be back to cover the fallout from
The
WrestleMania,
reaction.
SmackDown, and Raw. Ryan will be joining us, Mr. Brodo.
Oh, man.
Ryan's unfortunately got to decide between WrestleMania and the Masters the first couple hours.
Listen, man, I'll figure it out.
Yeah.
It's a good problem to have.
But, guys, thanks for joining us.
It's a good problem to have.
Thank
Yeah.
you for joining us on Facebook, Periscope, YouTube. Enjoy the week. Enjoy WrestleMania. And also, don't forget to join us on Saturday at 6 p.m.
6 p.m.
Saturday, 6 p.m. We know the season started today, but A2D is going to be bringing a lot of baseball coverage as we
Yep.
do our A2D
MLB Roundtable.
MLB Roundtable to get you prepared for the season.
Yeah, a lot of fills, but we'll be talking all of Major League
I'm a
Baseball.
Cardinals fan. There better be some damn Cardinals talk. Hashtag fire Matheny. Maddie, give us a read.
All right, well, this was Lazy Booking on A2DRadio.com, brought to you by Gibson Mayer, LLC, your certified public accountants located at 301 Oxford Valley Road in Yardley, PA. You can give them a call at 215-369-3300. The deadline is almost here, so be ready, be prepared, and use Gibson Mayer.
Hockey Happy Hours next, guys. We'll check you next week.
Arriba!